Welcome to Success Talks with Rodney Saulsberry. I hope you will support my sponsors who bring you this podcast absolutely free and with limited interruptions. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen. I'll get started in just a second.
The reviews are in. The book from voiceover superstar and coach Rodney Saulsberry is another runaway hit. Readers from all over the world are raving about tongue twisters and vocal warm-ups. You can find this and his other titles at the top of the voiceover bestsellers list on Amazon.
Ella Fitzgerald. Dubbed the First Lady of Song, Ella Fitzgerald was the most popular female jazz singer in the United States for more than half a century. In her lifetime, she won 13 Grammy Awards and sold over 40 million albums. Her voice was flexible, wide-ranging, accurate, and ageless. She could sing sultry ballads, sweet jazz, and imitate every instrument in an orchestra. She worked with all the jazz greats, from Duke Ellington, Count Basie, and Nat King Cole to Frank Sinatra, Dizzy Gillespie, and Benny Goodman. And some might say all the jazz greats had the pleasure of working with Ella. Are you looking for expert advice on advancing your voiceover career? Are you just getting started in the business? Join the Consultants Club and receive monthly coaching on how to read scripts, interpret copy, and get work in the fastest growing business in the world. When you join the Consultants Club, go to rodneysaulsberry.com and sign up today. She performed at top venues all over the world and packed them to the hilt. Her audience was as diverse as her vocal range. They were rich and poor, made up of all races and all nationalities. In fact, many of them had just one binding factor in common. They all loved Ella Fitzgerald.
Hello everyone, this is Sean Daly for dailyvo.com. I want to tell you about one resource I highly recommend for vocal warm-ups because it takes out all of the guesswork and it was purpose-built with voiceover in mind. It's called Rodney Saulsberry's Tongue Twisters and Vocal Warm-Ups with Other Vocal Care Tips. How's that for a title? So in case you don't know, Rodney Saulsberry is a top-tier talent and coach, motivational speaker, and author of several books on voice acting, including You Can Bank on Your Voice and Step Up to the Mic. The book is available in print and on Kindle, and you can find it at Amazon or Rodney's personal website, rodneysaulsberry.com, in the store section.
In mid-1936, Ella made her first recording. Love and Kisses was released under the Decca label with moderate success. By this time, she was performing with Chick's band, Chick Webb that is, and they were performing at Harlem's Savoy Ballroom, often referred to as the world's most famous ballroom. In 1938, at the age of 21, Ella recorded a playful version of the nursery rhyme, A-Tisket, A-Tasket. The album sold 1 million copies, hit number 1, and stayed on the pop charts for 17 weeks. Greylin Brown, the new novel by Rodney Saulsberry. It's the heartwarming story about a family in Detroit. The Motown sound was alive and well. The Philly soul sound was alive and well. And the big three automakers were making wonderful cars every day. Greylin Brown, the novel. Get your copy at Amazon.com or wherever books are sold. On June 16, 1939, Ella mourned the loss of her mentor, Chick Webb. In his absence, the band was renamed Ella Fitzgerald and Her Famous Band, and she took on the overwhelming task of band leader. While on tour with Dizzy Gillespie's band in 1946, Ella fell in love with bassist Ray Brown. The two were married and eventually adopted a son, whom they named Ray Jr. Due to a busy touring schedule, Ella and Ray were often away from home, straining the bond with their son. The two divorced in 1952, but remained good friends for the rest of their lives. Back in the day, Ella had to overcome discrimination. On the touring circuit, it was well known that Ella's manager felt very strongly about civil rights and required equal treatment for his musicians, regardless of their color. And he refused to accept any type of discrimination at hotels, restaurants, or concert halls, even when they traveled to the Deep South. Della had many fans, and some of her fans tried to help her in these turbulent racial times. One of them was Marilyn Monroe. About Marilyn Monroe, Ella said, "I owe Marilyn Monroe a real debt. It was because of her that I played the Macambo, a very popular nightclub in the 1950s. She personally called the owner of the Macambo and told him she wanted me booked immediately, and if he would do it, she would take a front table every night." The owner later said, yes, Marilyn was there, front table every night. The press went overboard, and Ella went on to say, "After that, I never had to play a small jazz club again." But it wasn't enough to just be known in the States. Ella wanted worldwide recognition. She toured all over the world, sometimes performing 2 shows a day in cities hundreds of miles apart. In 1974, Ella spent a legendary 2 weeks performing in New York with Frank Sinatra and Count Basie. Still going strong 5 years later, she was inducted into the Downbeat Magazine Hall of Fame and received Kennedy Center honors for her continuing contributions to the arts. Outside of the arts, Ella had a deep concern for child welfare. Though this aspect of her life was rarely publicized, she frequently made generous donations to organizations for disadvantaged youths. And the continuation of these contributions was part of the driving force that prevented her from slowing down. In 1987, United States President Ronald Reagan awarded Ella the National Medal of Arts. It was one of her most prized moments. France followed suit several years later, presenting her with their Commander of Arts and Letters Award, while Yale, Dartmouth, and several other universities bestowed Ella with honorary doctorates. By the 1990s, Ella had recorded over 200 albums. In 1991, she gave her final concert at New York's renowned Carnegie Hall. It was the 26th time she performed there. On June 15, 1996, Ella Fitzgerald died in her Beverly Hills home. Hours later, signs of remembrance began to appear all over the world. A wreath of white flowers stood next to her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and a marquee outside the Hollywood Bowl Theater read, "Ella, we miss you." After a private memorial service, traffic on the freeway was stopped to let her funeral procession pass through. And we here at Success Talks are proud to celebrate the outstanding career of Ella Fitzgerald.
You can listen to any of Rodney's podcasts at any time. Go to RodneySaulsberry.com.
I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I urge you to listen to future podcasts where I will continue to try and make you better than before. My goal is to point you in a positive direction to success, right here on Success Talks with me, Rodney Saulsberry.
Change my way.